Hey guys, this is Comic Uno. Let's see if this is loading correctly. There we go. Yes, it is. So yeah, I'm back for another Q&A style video. Now this is not going to be as long as those other Q&As I've done in the past. With my like when I hit a milestone for subscribers or my end of summer Q&A, and it's not like that Q&A. This is definitely more of a writing Q&A. I'm going to talk about my book, Like Father, Like Daughter, and you guys can ask me questions. I want you guys to ask me questions about the book, just from stuff I say or stuff you're curious of. If you're a writer yourself, or I mean maybe just an artist in general, you want to ask questions, like pick my brain. That's definitely what this panel is for. So I'm hoping this could be like a half an hour to an hour show. If it goes really well, I could go longer than that, but I'm trying to make it a little bit shorter than usual because I'm kind of tired. So I am very excited to talk about this panel and just talk about some of the questions you got. So I'm going to talk about the book as I wait for you guys to trickle in, viewers-wise and question-wise. So again, just questions about the book. Definitely axe away. Alright, so I'm going to reload the page, see if I got any questions first, just to see in general what's going on. Alright, well right now, I mean, we got comments, which is great, but definitely axe away in the comments below. Now we got 0 viewers, I don't know what's going on there. Anyways, so axe away in the comments below. So let's get started talking about this comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter. How did it come about? Just everything about it. I mean, I wish I had less than 0 viewers by talking about it. 1 viewer, okay, I'm cool with that. So what is Like Father, Like Daughter? It actually was a screenplay I wrote about a year ago. So I pretty much know what's going to happen. There's some stuff that's going to change in the comic. I already have like added scenes and a twist that I didn't have in the film that I'm adding in the comic that I think just makes the story a lot stronger, which it's already very strong. I just think it makes the mythology even deeper. So that's something else I'm adding in the comic that wasn't in the screenplay. But yeah, so I wrote a screenplay about a year ago called Like Father, Like Daughter, and I wanted to have a and this is what the story's about. I want to have a superhero who is very popular in his world. He's kind of like the Superman of superheroes. Everyone loves him. You know, he has obviously a great amount of power. And I wanted to look into celebrityness at the same time. And you know, superheroes are celebrities, and look into that path of the story also, and that theme. And so it's definitely a lot about being a celebrity and what that means, and maybe your celebrity self is very different from who you truly are. So overall, what is this story about? So Invulnerable is the only hero in the world, and he's saving lives. He's in the media everywhere, and we have a little secret here that Casey is his daughter, and Invulnerable left her to be a superhero, full-time superhero. So he's not a great father. And as the series goes on, we learn why he left. And did he do it for reasons? Who knows? Will they connect over time? You'll have to read the book and see what happens. Or will Casey always hate him? So it's very much this father-daughter relationship that you're exploring. And obviously it's already a hard topic for your father to leave. And you know, it's hard enough to see that. It's like you feel like you're not wanted. But with this scenario, she sees him everywhere. She can't escape him, and everyone loves him. So how does she feel about that? So there's a couple of events that come along in issue 1 that progresses this story. So let's talk about characters. And again, what is this? What I want to really talk about in the book. You know, some themes again. Really want to dig into what it means to be a celebrity and your celebrity self and who you truly are. That's a big theme in the book. Family, of course, is a big theme in the book. And friendship, I would say, social groups in high school, that's definitely played with in this book a lot. I think when I started the project, I wanted to focus a little bit more on that, but honestly, as the project went on, I think as the origin story goes on, I'll focus more on the social groups in high school, but it kind of diverged from that, but there's definitely a lot of social groups in high school, and there's definitely a lot of talk in that, and there's a lot of exploration there. But who are our main characters? I talked about Casey. She's a popular girl in high school, has lots of friends, but again, she has this kind of secret hovering over her that her father's invulnerable. Now, everyone loves Invulnerable. The geeks, the jocks, they all love Invulnerable for different reasons. So the geeks love the scientific comic booky stuff, and the jocks just like kind of look up to Invulnerable saying, ah, yeah, he's a cool dude. Look at that, you know, the action stuff that just happens. Like, oh, that was awesome this morning. So they all like Invulnerable for different reasons, but everyone loves Invulnerable. So Casey has to live with that. And I would say Casey's not the mean girl of popularity, but, you know, she has an attitude. I'll say that. She definitely has an attitude, which is a good thing, I think. Now she has a best friend named Stephanie, and she's definitely going to help Casey along the way. And one thing I love about Stephanie is her quirkiness. She just says it how it is, and she doesn't care who's listening. And she's a very loyal friend. I think that's a big aspect to her character, truly loyal. So yeah, Invulnerable we'll dig into. I think, you know, with issue 1, and just as the series goes on, you're going to see little bits of Invulnerable. And again, see, is this guy a horrible person, or is he not a horrible person? Is he a hero? Is he not a hero? What does it mean to be a hero? So that you're going to, well, I'm going to dig into a lot of that with Invulnerable. So look forward to that. The mother, Jessica, is very distant. She's just very upset that her husband left her to be a superhero, and she's going to be very distant to Casey at times. And Casey tries to bring stuff up about her father. She wants to have a normal life, so she tries to forget about it. So that's going to play a big part as the series goes on. And another important character is Wes. He is the geeky character, and he's the one that knows everything about Invulnerable. He's going to help Casey learn more about her father and just more of the aspects of the comic book aspects. And this book is a lot about turning the superhero trope on its head. You'll see, like, you know, the generic superhero, but again, I'm playing of the fact of a superhero on the superhero genre. So you're going to see a lot of comic book references. As a comic book reviewer, I have a lot of different comic book references, and Wes is going to be a big character that does that. So yeah, if you feel like it's ridiculous that superheroes keep their secret identity and, you know, know all these rules right away, I play a lot with that. So it's gonna be very interesting. So yeah, that's pretty much all the characters. And again, Wes is like starting to get into the social group of Stephanie and Casey. So how does that work in high school? You'll have to see. So those are my main characters of the book. And yeah, with the first issue, I'll talk about once you guys get more questions. I haven't seen if you ask any questions yet, but I will check, obviously. What else can I talk about? Yeah, so when I started this project, it started as a movie script, and one night, I was like, I wanted to make another movie script. I was like, okay. I had an idea in my head what I wanted to do, but I felt like I wasn't really showing anybody my work by doing this, and obviously making movies are very, very hard, and to fund a movie, and like, what do I know the most about? And I was like, comic books. And this genre obviously fits so well in the comic book also. And I knew I wanted to make this a comic book anyways, but I was like, is this possible? And I wrote the first issue, tried to look for an artist, made a video, and then Short Fuse Media, which is the company I'm working with now, approached me. And we've been working together ever since, and now I'm promoting this, we have a website called Like Father, Like Daughter, and we have 4 concept images up, so if you want to see what the characters look like, there is one sketch version of Invulnerable, and then the colored version. Then we have a sketch version of Casey and her friends, and the colored version. Now, the reason I do the Q&A this week is because next week is going to be the first one-shot. There's going to be 3 one-shot webcomics. So just like a normal webcomic, it's going to be a page, a story. Now, normal webcomics are filled out as an issue. I mean, it depends on the webcomic, but they'll fill out a whole 20-page issue, but every week they'll only do 1 page. So with this, it's only a one-shot, so it's one page is the full story. It's like a promotional page to show who these characters are. So I made stories up for Casey, Vulnerable, and Jessica, so every week you'll get that story. So you're going to see the sample of my writing, and it is a different artist for the web art for the webcomic, so you're not really seeing a sample of the actual comic art, but you are just seeing a sample of the tone of the book and everything. So definitely read this, support this, that way we could you know, get the Kickstarter as successful as possible. So let's get into the Kickstarter. So in about 3 weeks, I'm going to have the Kickstarter. So after these one-shots, it'll be after 3 one-shots, very close to New York Comic Con. I will have a Kickstarter to try to get money for the first issue. Again, the first issue is already done. We're working on the first issue already. And our goal is to just bring this book into comic book stores and have you guys enjoy it. So yeah, and there's a lot of cool prizes too. If you watch the show or you watch Comic Frontline, if you like comic books, indie books, there's a lot of cool prizes there. So look forward to that. So yeah, the Kickstarter will be then. We just gotta keep promoting that Kickstarter to, you know, try to get to the price and make this comic, because I'm totally excited about it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. So let's dive into some questions. Let's see if we got any. You know, we got 5 viewers now, but let's see if we got any questions. All right. Yeah, so definitely as I babble along, ask questions. I'll read. There's a lot of smiley faces here. Sparrow0002 said sick flasher. Thank you. Sparrow002. What inspired Like Father, Like Daughter? What inspired my book? You know, I've always enjoyed high school stories. I'm always a sucker for them. I know everyone hates the teen drama, and I think that's what I really want to do with Like Father, Like Daughter, show that the teen drama has potential. It doesn't have to be that, because a lot of times people think teen drama is like, oh, CW, you know, ABC Family, teen drama, horrible shows, 90210 or something like Degrassi. They always think that. So I think with Like Father, Like Daughter, I just want to show that teens have potential, and yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to this character. Even if you're not a teenager, you can relate to this character. I'm in college. Even though this is a high school character, I relate to these characters. I wrote them. So, but what inspired me? Spider-Girl definitely had some inspiration into it. Definitely, I would say the high school scene gave me some inspiration, and I guess the family dynamics too. I'd say the powers are inspired by bionic man and woman. I wanted to make the powers a little bit more grounded. I didn't want to be like Superman flying up everywhere. It's enhanced strength, invulnerability, so you can't be hurt, and running super fast. So it's things that are definitely possible. It's not like, oh, shooting lasers out of your eyes or, you know, whatever, electricity out of your hands. So yeah, I guess if you really think about it, it could be possible too. But these are just, again, just enhancing strength and speed, or something that just makes it a little bit more grounded. So you're going to see a lot of that. So that was inspired by Bionic Man and Woman, because that was a very grounded series in that way. There's another thing that inspired me, but I'm not going to say it because it kind of spoils stuff. So once we get to that point, I'll tell you what else inspired me for it. But there's a big twist in the series, a big, big twist that motivates us into the origin story. And that was inspired by something, but I'm not going to say anything yet. So very cool question. Let's try to get some more. Let's see. Hope we get more questions here. Yeah, there we go. Really interesting, like, there's a lot of different faces in the comments, which is really cool for, I guess, the writing side of stuff. So yeah, keep asking away. Alright. Art's Sick says, so you do have an artist. Is it set artist, or are you still looking for a solid artist for the book? Yeah, through the company, Short Fuse Media, they have a whole team of artists, inkers, colorists, so I do not need an artist right now. So yeah, I do have a full team of artists. I'm really proud of their work, and I've seen a couple of the first pages of the first issue. Really excited. It's cool to see the stuff that I just thought in my mind just really come to life, especially the paneling. I love their paneling work. So yeah, I do have an artist for all the stuff, and also the coloring, inking, lettering. It's all there through Short Fuse Media. All right, next is Arstic. Is there a place where we can see concept sketches of all the main characters? Yes. I'm going to link the website after the live show, or, I'll link it now. I'll link it as I'm talking. So it'll be in the comments, the thing, the website, which is a really cool website, too. I love how Short Fuse Media designed this. You can just go through the 4 concept images. On the bottom, there'll be arrows, so that's the 4 concept images that you can look through. And also to mention, you guys, let me try to paste. Great, come on, try to paste it again. You guys can also do fan art, which is really interesting. I guess as the series goes on, or as you see these concept images, you could, I don't know why it's not making me, I'm just going to reply to you. Maybe that'll work. Anyways, you guys could do fan art if you're interested in being an artist, because Short Fuse Media sees the fan art and they said, hey, if this is good artwork, they'll hire you for something. So this is a really good in if you want a job as an artist. Work on some fan art for the page, and they have a website on the website, which I'm gonna link. Hopefully, I could get it on the YouTube comments. For some reason, it's not pasting. You could again just work on some fan art, and Short Fuse Media might hire you for that. And they have their email there, that way you can send it. It'll be on the website. Ugh. It's not copying, so I'm definitely going to have to show you guys the link after the show. I'll put it in the description. I don't know why it's not copying onto the comments right now. But I will have the link. And also, if you just want to put another tab in pretty much all my videos for like 3 weeks, it has the links in all the descriptions to say Life Papa, Like Daughter, Blogspot. So just like go to one of my videos and I'll have it. If you really want to see it now, which I would love you guys to see it now if you haven't seen it yet. So yeah, just open another tab and go on my videos, and you'll find it there. All right, so we got a couple more questions here. Jeremy, Kat, did you base on characters on yourself or anyone you know? It's actually a really cool question. I tried, but no. None of these characters are based on anyone in my life. I was trying to make Stephanie do some quirky things that me and my best friend do, and there are some scenes that you'll see that, like, just things that happen. Any writer will have that. But yeah, no, not any character be like, yeah, that person's from there. And there's shows I've made where there's directly from things in my life. For this comic, it just wasn't. But yeah, there's other shows I've done that are like that. So, all right, next question. Next question is from Scotty Showman. What's it been like working with Short Fuse Media and collaborating with an artist, and what was your immediate reaction when you saw your characters come to life on paper? Just saying before, Short Fuse Media has been just great to work with, sending me a lot of stuff, keeping me up to date with everything they're doing, and it's just been great. I've been loving working with them. Very professional people. They know a lot about the comic book industry and what to make for indie comic. Honestly, there's a lot more work to put into indie comic than I ever imagined. And yeah, it's going to be hard work, but it's going to be really satisfying once that first issue hit stands. And hopefully that'll be sooner than later. Again, just depending on that Kickstarter. But going back to your question, what is it like to see your characters come to life? It's awesome. Just seeing this first scene of my book, which I'm not going to spoil, I just remember sitting in my screenplay writing class, which is where I wrote the movie, and just thinking, you have to have something that really catches the audience for your first scene. So since this is about kind of poking, not poking fun at superheroes, but really dissecting superheroes, I made the first scene very in a generic superhero way. On purpose. I made the first scene kind of like a generic hero rescue. So it's kind of cool to see that rescue come to life, and just everything really come to life. Your characters come to life. I love seeing every page. It's we just had a podcast a couple of weeks ago on Comic Frontline with the Zenoscope team, and Pat Chan said something really cool. He said that getting those the art for your book is like a Christmas gift. Then you open it up, and I'll actually never forget that quote because I feel the same way. It's like a Christmas gift when you get the next art piece, and just seeing your story continue, and seeing stuff you're like, yeah, that's totally how I saw it, and it's like totally not how I saw it, but it's even better. Especially the paneling. I've been so impressed with how they paneled the book. I just never pictured it like that. So it's really cool to see it. Very satisfying. And I think that's what's awesome as a writer in these type of medias to do. Especially like television, movies. Of course, you see the actors portray your work, and then with comic books, you get to see the artist portray your work. So it's really cool to see that. So I'm going to be waiting on a couple more questions. Let me just try to reload it. Yeah, so I'm going to wait on a couple more. So let those questions trickle in. Be great to get some more. Reload it. Let's try to think of some questions that could come up for you guys. Okay. Yeah, so keep those questions coming. That way the show can continue. See, yeah, what else can I talk about with the book just coming up from my mind? Yeah, I guess we could talk about the Kickstarter a little bit more. I'm very excited for this Kickstarter. Again, it's going to be in like 3 more weeks. I decided to do it right near New York Comic Con, just to make myself totally stressed. But no, but I just think it's a really good time to do it. It's, for me, New York Comic Con is a big convention. I do a lot, so I'm hoping I could just let people know about it. And there's a lot of cool gifts coming. I mean, I'm not going to spoil the gifts, but there's a lot of cool stuff. If you like the channel, there's a lot of prizes for the channel. Again, if you just like comic books in general, there's a lot of different things you could get from the comic, like scripts and stuff, so it's pretty cool. I was totally impressed by the list. At first, I sent one list, which Short Fuse Media and we just kind of like made it better, which is really cool. At first, like, what am I gonna write? Like, what do people want? So I think that's a difficult thing, coming up with the prizes and making everything very reasonable. Obviously, money-wise, you got to think about your budget. That's kind of difficult. I think as an indie writer, it's difficult because you're doing this kind of all by yourself, and I'm so happy I have Short Fuse Media do it with me because they know a lot more about the budget stuff. So I didn't know how difficult that was going to be. But again, it's a really fun ride to be an indie comic, and an indie comic with a female character. Oh my God. I've been following Twitter a lot with writers just because I'm a comic book reviewer, so I follow a lot of writers on there. And also I'm a writer, so follow a lot of writers. And it's cool. The topic a lot is about females in comic books. It's just a big topic. Why I do a lot of my topic videos on females, of course, because I'm a female reading comic books. You want to see yourself represented there, but also it's just, again, with the movies, is it too male dominated? And that's going into comic books because, comic books has always been male dominated. Is there enough diversity? Yes, there is enough diversity. So there's always that question, but what does it mean to have a good female lead? Is it just to be kick-ass? And I think that's the big point that I've been trying to bring up in my movie reviews and like my movie topic videos for Marvel is like, is kick-ass really a strong female character? And that's what I really explore in like Father Like Daughter. It's like, is Casey kick-ass? Maybe at a point she will be, but it's really just digging into her character, and I think that's a strong female character, is when you can dig into the character and you can see her faults, but then she also has a lot of great points. You could really tell what type of character she is, and I think I do that with, honestly, all my characters. Again, it's not just Casey, it's not just the female characters, but it's the male characters too, and Vulnerable. He has a lot of depth, for a superhero. He has a lot of depth because of the things he's done. So, and even Wes, all these characters have a story. It's not, they're two-dimensional, no. And again, they have their faults. That's a big part of my book. And, sometimes with me reviewing comics, I see a lot of people in the comments say, this person should have done that, that was her fault. Korra is a big example, Legend of Korra. A lot of people hate that she's not perfect. And honestly, I think something I really like about Korra is her faults. And I think that's something I'm going to try highlighting in Like Father, Like Daughter, is that you could have a strong female character and still have faults. Not your characters don't have to be perfect, and that's something I really want to try highlighting here. So if you want to ask more about the female questions too, that's a big thing in my book. You know, it's a female lead. You don't see it very often, which you know obviously you see a lot more in comic books now, but it's just a big discussion in comic books. So if you want to write some comments about that, you can, and I'll answer whatever you guys want. So let's see if we got some more questions here. Yes, there we go. Thank you guys. Show must go on. Okay. All right. Nathan Banks, what does it take to create a good character? Yeah, you know, something I was just talking about is that you can't have a two-dimensional character. You can't have, like, you can't think just being badass can make a good character. Of course, being badass is awesome. But you have to have some sort of story there. You gotta, again, have faults, have things you do well. You gotta have motives. So I think that's what makes a good character. Don't think about, like, well, if she could fight, then yeah, she's a great character. No, think about, like, what the hell is this character thinking? You know, another great point is that she had a story previously before this, and I think that makes a good character. If you just put on your character on a piece of paper and be like, well, here's a story, she's fighting crime or whatever, she's stealing from banks, but if you feel like she hasn't had a story previously before this, the writer didn't do a good job. You have to see, it's like, oh yeah, I saw her in like 2nd grade doing whatever. You know, you have to see that she had some sort of story beforehand. And again, I think a lot of my characters do that. These characters have had stories before these events brought the comic book. So I think that makes a good character. Again, just a well-rounded character. You don't have to be perfect, guys. That's a big key. All right. Next question. Ooh, we got a lot here. Okay. I'm glad a lot. Okay. Jeremy. So, as a comic fan yourself, can we expect any comic references, kind of like how Kick-Ass does it? Oh, actually, that's another inspiration of my book. Again, when we wrote the screenplay, I had to do a lot of research. So, again, I know what I took for the book and what inspired me for the book. And Kick-Ass was a big one because there's a lot of references and a lot of Spider-Man references because, as you guys know, I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I just think Spider-Man relates a lot to my book because it is the normal teen who you can really relate to. And that's why I reference a lot of Spider-Man. And one funny, I'm going to bring this up. So my screenplay writing class doesn't know much about comics and stuff. So I make you know, a Spider-Man reference saying, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. And Wes is giving Casey all these index cards and testing her on comic book knowledge because she has to learn about comic books. So I won't spoil why, but she has to learn about comic books. So Wes says, who said, with great power comes must come great responsibility. And Casey's like, that's easy, Spider-Man. And Wes is like, oh, who first says it? And Wes is like, oh, who first said it was Uncle Ben, but I guess that was a trick question. So my screenplay writing teacher said, you mean like the rice, Uncle Ben? It's like, no, Uncle Ben is, you know, Peter's uncle who said, with great power must come great responsibility. So it's kind of interesting to see that. So there's a lot of references that I guess non-comic book readers wouldn't know. And then, yeah, so there's a lot of, like, trivia stuff. The first issue has a whole montage of some from a comic book. So it's really fun. Yeah, so a lot of comic book references here and there. So definitely expect that. It's very kick-ass in that way. Okay. We got Jay. The faults of a character is what makes them strong, in my opinion. Yeah, you know, I totally agree with that, because if you have a perfect character, which people think Superman is, which it just brings, because Jay's a big Superman fan. Superman is not a perfect character, or else it wouldn't be interesting at all. If you just have that perfect person, it's like, oh, well, how can I relate to him? Why do I care about you if you're not going to make any faults? And, you know, I always know you're going to do the right thing. It's that morality compass also. Like, that's why I think Invulnerable's so interesting as a character, is because I don't know if he's going to do the right thing. Well, I do know. You guys are not going to know if he does the right thing. Is he a good guy? Is he just a superhero? Is he just a celebrity? Is he a good father? So it's a lot of those questions. You know, I think questions that come up in our everyday life. And I think that's what stories should be, is something that you should relate to. And none of us are perfect, so why should our characters be? So definitely I dig deep into that. All right. Adam Franco said my favorite female lead would be She-Hulk. Her comic's amazing also. Yes, She-Hulk is very cool. All right, Sky Showman, what else can you tell us about the main character without giving too much away, especially Casey and Vulnerable? I definitely gave you that whole reference about the Uncle Ben thing. That was a fun little thing. Casey, yeah, like I said, she's a popular character. I mean, you know, she's a popular girl in high school, but she has a lot of depth to her. And I'll say she gets angry a lot when Invulnerable is brought up in the conversation. That's all I'm going to say. Invulnerable, again, he's going to be very much a mystery character in the beginning. But he's not going to be someone that doesn't show up. And this is another thing I've learned from just media in general. Vampire Diaries, I'm going to bring up right now. There's a character called Catherine, and she only popped up every once in a while, and that's why a lot of people liked her. And I think that was the power of her character, was that she only was there every once in a while. She wasn't there every episode. So Invulnerable is there every issue, I will say that, but he's not a total character in these first issues. But there's small little mysteries of him, and when he is in that scene, you're like, what's Invulnerable doing? What's his motive? So it's very interesting in that way. All right, next is from Tabia. How do you come up with the idea with your comic? Just wondering. So yeah, I kind of answered this, but how did I come up with the idea? Again, I did it for a screenplay writing class, and I wanted to really get into family dynamics for superheroes because we never see them anymore. So that's something I want to really delve into. And celebrity culture, something I'm always really interested in. Just as someone that loves pop culture, I just really always fascinated by how we look up to celebrities in America. And superheroes is an American genre, so I'm just trying to dig into that. That's just definitely big things. And again, you know, having a strong female lead was a big point of my book also, but not a perfect female lead, not just a badass female lead, but someone with a character. So those are big points in the book. All right, Jeremy. As a writer myself, I personally find writing action scenes the hardest. What's your process writing action scenes? I play music that matches the action scenes and try to write it. I agree. Action scenes are kind of complicated. For me, honestly, action scenes aren't the worst, but villain scenes. I never could wrap my head on making a really good villain. For me, I think I've made a good villain for this book, but it's really hard. It is. I don't know why. The hardest thing is not the hero story, but the villain story for me. But yeah, action scenes are kind of tough. I think at least with my characters, they have grounded powers, and also you got to think of the science. And there's one scene I was just like, does that make sense, like scientifically? So I went to my brother, was like, can this happen? Can this actually, like, with her powers, can this happen? Or with his powers, can that happen? So yeah, that was a big thing for me, is the scientific version of all that, because you have to make it make sense. So, all right, let's move on. Jay, do you have the setup as a complete story, or are you plotting it as a mini with the opening for an ongoing? For me, I have the whole full origin story. I know it's going to be a good amount of issues just because it's written as a movie script, and my movie is about 90 pages, so it's not, you know, super long, but it's pretty much a regular standard movie script. And honestly, I'm writing more scenes as the comic goes on, so just to make it make sense in the comic book medium, and obviously just kind of make it different from the movie script also, just a little bit. But yeah, I definitely have a vision of an ongoing, and the way it ends, well, as a miniseries, I mean, but the way it ends, it's like, I know I want to make an ongoing. It's very much an open ending, and it's going to be an ongoing, it will, but at the point where it's ended, I haven't figured out what stories I want to do yet for that part, because, you know, just wait in the future, because I just need to know what the origin story is, which is a big origin story. But yeah, so I do have ideas for an ongoing, though, and the way it ends, it's so going to be an ongoing, so it's a very interesting ending. So yes, I know about 11 issues ahead, 12 issues ahead, so I know where the story's going. So as you guys can see, it's like, oh, Rollable, like, not even half the story. It's really interesting, it gets. Okay, next question. Kat, did you also take your inspiration from Invincible, the Image series? Just wondering. I guess a little bit. You know, the name, honestly, took me a while to figure out for my comic, because, like, what superhero name hasn't been taken, and just for my superhero, it made sense to make Invulnerable. And I guess it's very similar to Invincible, but their characters really aren't similar. But I guess the family dynamics are very similar, just because there are family dynamics in Invincible. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't really thinking about Invincible when I came up with it, but then once I was reviewing Invincible and almost said Invulnerable, that's probably when I noticed that, I guess it's a little similar, but yeah. So yeah, not initially, I didn't really have any inspiration from it. And also, I don't, Invincible, it's not that, his powers aren't about being invincible, so that's another thing. I guess because Robert Kirkman was also going for, like, here's a generic hero that's going to go so in a different path. So I guess in that way, it's kind of inspired by that. Alright, I'm going to reload the questions, too. Okay. Reloading. It's taking a little. Okay, there we go. Alright. I read Batman for hand-to-hand combat and deep character anguish. I read X-Men for social commentary and thought-provoking issues. I read Deadpool for jokes. I read Hulk to him smash. What emotions and reading experience should I expect from Like Bob White Daughter? I wouldn't expect this to be an action-packed book, which it'll have a lot of action, but it's not really the purpose for at least the origin story. It won't be like, here's all action, but there's action too. So like you were just saying, like, it's not hand-to-hand combat with Batman, but with my story. I would say, again, emotion, honestly. There's just a lot of emotional impacts here. You're going to see people really talk their feelings here. It's not all just like, oh my god, let me talk my feelings, please. It's just a lot of drama, I would say. It's kind of like an Arrow in different ways, where it's not soap opera-ish, but there's just a lot of drama. But, again, a lot of action. I would say there's a lot of politics in it, too, as things go on. So you will see a lot of political commentary. And it's interesting, the political commentary, which once we get to that point, I'll probably have these Q&As, like, after an issue comes out. I'll, like, do a Q&A after every issue, so we'll talk about when that issue comes out, whenever it does. Okay. Next question. It's from Jay. What character is the hardest for you to write, and what is the easiest one to write? Easiest probably is Casey. She's definitely the easiest. She has the most emotion. She has the most to say. Hardest. Jessica, honestly. She's kind of the hardest, because, like, how do you place her? That's definitely the hardest for me. Alright, next question is from Jay. I think just statement. For fighting scenes, I visualize them as a movie or TV show and just write it as I visually see it. Yeah, I kind of think about that too. I think for me and Jay, because we see so much television, it kind of comes natural in a way, like some of the fighting scenes, because it's like implanted in our brains. Because if you see enough television with action, if you see enough, or if you read enough comics, you just like kind of second nature in a way. So I feel like the action scenes aren't as hard for me. I think maybe prolonged action scenes. I'll tell you when that time comes, but yeah, I haven't really had difficulty with action scenes as of yet. I think honestly, because I've written TV scripts and movie scripts, it's honestly harder to write action scenes in that medium than it is in comic books. Because the artist, you wouldn't notice, but the artist just has such an impact on these. Obviously, you would notice. Just has such an impact on making your action scenes come to life. So when you're writing, it's like, oh, this is gonna be really that good. And then when you see it, it's like, okay, I get it. This is great. I love what I did. Just because of that collaboration. So yeah, I think television and movies is a lot harder to write action scenes than it is for the comic books. At least that's what I've noticed from writing all three mediums. Alright, next question from Tevia. Question, Kat. I was hoping I can get help for my idea. Okay, so try to concentrate on the Like Father Like Daughter stuff, but yeah, I'll go into the writing stuff too. So okay. I get some help from my idea with creating a superhero dad with having 2 children, 1 boy with the ability to teleport, and the sister has the power to fly, super speed, and super strength, who have powers like their dad, but their mother is human. Basically tells a story of how the father and children got their powers. Can my idea work? Just wondering. Any idea could work. If you feel like you can do that, come up with a creative spin that has your voice and that you feel like has never been done before. So that's how you do it. You can't, I mean, from now you just see what story you want to go with it. All right. Next question. Really, making villains and villain stories are my favorite part. This from Jeremy. If this does turn into an ongoing, will you make it into a shared universe with more heroes and teams? Without spoiling anything, you know, this is just the premise of the book. It's only 1 hero, so there's probably not going to be a shared universe. And I really never thought about it as a shared universe, at least at this point. There's not an opportunity right now to do that, but maybe one day, you know, as the series goes on, we'll see. But at this point, the premise really is just 1 superhero. That's honestly a big point of the book, is that there's always just 1 superhero. Unless I make it like an Archie book and have like Stephanie have her own book and her do her own antics, and that will be the shared universe. All right, let's move on to the next question. Cartoon fan, I've been with you since like 50 subs because of Black Nerd. He showed me your channel. Awesome. I think with Black Nerd Comedy I had about like 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers, but yeah, you've been here for a while. Thank you for it. I still thank Black Nerd Comedy giving me that shout out. And also, I'm hoping maybe I'll send him the comic. Hopefully you can read it. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Frank O. Sylvia. How long does it take you to finish making an issue? Sorry if somebody already asked. No, this is actually a first-time question for that. How long does it usually take? Again, it's a little easier for me because I pretty much have the whole story plotted until like issue 13, so I already know what direction it's going, and I think that's the hardest part, is plotting your book. And you know, once it turns into an ongoing and I'm past the movie script and past the origin story, yeah, it's going to take me a lot longer to make an issue, but as of right now, it's pretty easy. Just translating the movie script into the comic, adding scenes. It takes me, I mean, it still takes a while to write because it's like 22 pages, what amount of panels you want, you got to do the descriptions and converting it. So it takes me about 2 days to write out, and then right now I'm still on issue 3 just because I just started school, so I haven't had time to, you know, look over issue 3, and honestly I like backing away from it for a little while, so I'll write the issue and maybe for like a week I'll back away, not look at it, and then reread it and like correct it and see. That'll be the first draft, and then write a second draft. And again, usually it doesn't change that much because I've written all the issues up or written the story already, so I know where it's going, and I know there's not plot holes because I know where the story's going, and I've outlined it far in advance. So that helps a lot. But yeah, once that ongoing comes, and after the origin story, I think it's going to take me a lot longer to do. But usually it takes about 2 days to write. And yeah, long hours it is. Even though I already have the story, it still takes a really long time to. Because also for a comic, you got to think of, all right, what's my cliffhanger? What's going to get readers interested? What story should I fit in one issue to be like, a reader be like, yeah, this is an awesome book. Because you don't want filler issues also. You know, I'm not an advocate on filler issues unless they're fun filler issues, which I will have one of these days for like Father Like Daughter. Can't have it with the origin story as of right now, but so yeah, I'm an advocate for like, hey, let's go have a girl nights out type filler issue, but I'm not an advocate for nothing happening and people are like just talking about nothing and talking about the same things over and over again. So with my book, I make sure that I have something exciting happening every issue. That way people are like, you know what, this is awesome, I'm glad I picked this up. So especially for the origin story, the story moves very quickly. So look forward to that. But you also have to plan that. So you got to plan cliffhangers, where you want to end the story, because again, in a movie script, it's very different. So you got to see how you want to sculpture your book. All right, next question. Scotty Showman, in your mind, when you see the characters, who do they look like, and who would you get to cast from Hollywood? Yeah, as you write a book, you kind of have to have other for the artist, you have to say, oh, well, this person's going to look like this, or a combination of this. So if you have an idea in your mind, especially for a comic, you got to have it from somewhere else. I'm not going to say it right now, who I'm going to pick, or who I've inspired it by, because I don't know if I'm allowed to. I'm not sure. But yeah, there's definitely inspirations for all the art styles, and I picked different actors, different comic characters, so yeah. But again, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, so maybe at one point I will, but not for this Q&A. Okay, next question. All right. If this is from Tevia, if there was a chance for a crossover between your comic universe and Spider-Girl, or the world, how would you write the crossover? Just wondering, also, would you have a crossover between the Ultimate Universe with Miles Morales and... Well, I'm going to tell you right here, it's not going to happen, because you're not going to have a crossover with an indie book with a Marvel book. But if I had to, I don't know what I would do. I mean, I don't know. I've never really thought about it. I mean, I have stories in my mind what I want to do for Spider-Girl in general if I had my own ongoing series with her, but nothing crossing over with, like, Father Like Daughter, because they're very two different universes. Again, one is with one superhero in the world, and another is with a lot of superheroes in the world. So they're definitely two different universes I don't think would work well colliding. But who knows? Maybe, you know, may somehow goes into the, like, Father Like Daughter universe. All right. Next question is from Cartoon Fanatic. Where can we get the book? I talked about this a little bit in the beginning, but I'll repeat it. I will have a Kickstarter in the next 3 weeks, and if that raises enough money, I'm going to talk to Short Fuse Media. We're going to try to get this book on Diamond Publishing, which, you know, is a process, but you got, you know, if you want it in stores around the world, you got to do it. But yeah, it all depends on the Kickstarter, and whoever, you know, you just have to, like, pay $5 or so, and you get, like, prizes. You get the book and physical copy of the book, and you get other things with the book, so don't worry, it's not a $5 book. But you also get a digital copy if you want for, I think it was like, whatever, I don't remember the prizes now. I don't know if I'm allowed to reveal them, so I'm not going to. But just saying, if you back up the Kickstarter for at least $5, you'll get a printed physical copy of the book. So, and there's a cheaper version where you get, like, a digital version, which is the regular price. So, and again, there's something with the printed comic that you're getting. You're not paying $5 for a printed comic, just for the printed comic. So yeah, you could definitely, if you back up the Kickstarter, you'll get the book and write mail to you. But if you don't back up the Kickstarter, which I think you should try to back up the Kickstarter. But yeah, if you don't back up the Kickstarter, or you know, maybe you're late to the Kickstarter, maybe it ended. Hopefully, all raise the money. It will be in comic book stores, hopefully, and yeah. I have a lot of ideas for that, but we got to get the Kickstarter starting before we have these ideas. Okay. Next question. It's from Tevia. I would go with my idea, but okay, so that's more of his idea. All right, I'll read it for now, but we're try just to keep the questions like Father Like Daughter, because then, like, everyone's gonna be talking about their ideas. I go with my idea, but the problem is, though, I'm not really a good writer. I'm more of an ideas person, don't really have the funding, so how can I get my idea off the ground? Just wondering. Actually, Short Fuse Media does that, but, yeah, I don't know. You gotta, you know, I don't know, find a writer, I guess, because I know people that have done just ideas, like, here's my idea, write it for me. I've seen, I think this week that came out, Cloaks came out, and David Henry from Wizard Waverly Plays, he had just the idea of Cloaks, and then he made one of the comic book writers write it. So, yeah, there's possibilities to do that. I don't know how, but, yeah, there's definitely possibilities, I'm sure of it. But you also have to get people really interested in your ideas. So you have to have a unique spin on your idea. All right, next question. This is from Sky Showman. I would mark out a little if I saw Casey and Wes on a computer at school when Soryu or Comic Frontline peeps on the computer in comic book form. What do you think of comic book cameos with artists and writers and stuff? Oh, so you would, like, freak out if we were there. I gotta say, there's no scenes of that right now. But yeah, I mean, I just just I think this week, Argo 5, our very good friend at Comic Frontline and also part of Comic Frontline, Dan Sen, he just did a cameo with Mike and Chris on his own comic book. So, but he's been doing his comic book for a while. He's up to issue 12. So at this point in the origin story, I don't think I'm going to have any cameos. But, well, actually, for the Kickstarter, there might be. So look into the Kickstarter. But, yeah, definitely, in time there will be a cameo from somebody, but nothing yet. But I would love to do that. I think that's so much fun. All right. Jay, translating it from a screenplay to a comic script, what did you find was the biggest challenge? Again, I think it's just sculpting it into a comic book. Like having that cliffhanger, knowing what story should go into what issue. That's definitely the hardest part. Like issue 3 I was really struggling with. I was formatting it, and I was like, I don't have enough pages to fit. Like, I want to end it here, but I don't have enough pages. I need more to write. And it just wasn't enough pages, and then there was too many pages, so it's just formatting it into a 22-page issue and knowing which stories to fit where. And then having a good cliffhanger, you know, making people want to read more, having a good first page for the issue. So in a movie, you're just continuing watching, so you don't really have to worry about that. You just got to make the story develop as it goes on. But with a comic, people are buying every issue, so you got to have more to each issue. So yeah, it's very hard translating for that. But as at least a comic book reviewer and someone that knows a lot about comic books, it's a little easier for me. But if you're just like a movie script, a screenplay writer, and you're like, you know, I just want to make a comic book, never read one in my life, then you're gonna have a lot of difficulties. You definitely need to know the industry to make the comic book, and you need to know a lot about the process of a book. And I think as a reviewer, we always pick at that anyways, so it's a little bit easier. I always, you know, especially with my own comic, I think about, after I read it, I'm like, if I reviewed this, how would I critique it? What would I see is wrong? Sometimes I'm my own worst critic at that time, too, because I am a critic. But yeah, that's definitely something you have to look into. And then it's also hard to judge your own work, too. So that's why I'm excited to show you guys. Hopefully you guys like it. All right, next question. How do you get funding to your book? It's going to be Kickstarter. So, hey, since this was a screenplay first, then you expanded to a comic. If you were to make this into a movie, would you use your original screenplay or rewrite it? I would use my original screenplay. It's a first draft, though, so I would have to rewrite it because there's a lot of grammar mistakes. And, like, some dialogue's a little clunky, which I had to fix with the comic book. When I was rereading it, you have to, like, again, it's also how do you fit dialogue into each panel. But, yeah, I would have to rewrite the draft. But, honestly, the story is exactly where I want it. And it's very, you know, it's very original. I will say that. It gets to a point where you're going to be really shocked. There's a lot of twists and turns in this book, I'm not going to lie. And I'm excited for those issues to come out, but it takes a little while to get there. But, of course, there's a lot of different events. And, honestly, I've been on this story for about a year, exactly a year now. So it's weird because, like, I'm not tired of my own story, but it's like it doesn't have the same impact as I guess I first wrote it. So it's just like, oh, will people like this? It's like, because I've been sitting on this for a year, like, I understand this, but will people have that shock value? Like, because, like, I know it, because I've been, like, it's not a shock value to me anymore because I wrote it, and I've been sitting on this for a year, and, you know, making it into a comic book now. But it's always that question, will this shock people, or will this be good, you know, will this translate right to the reader? So it's kind of weird to see that, too. So that's an interesting question. Let me see how much time this one. Yeah, we can still keep going. Thank you guys for keep going with the questions. All right, I'm gonna reload the page actually as I go along. Okay. Yes, we have more questions. Cartoon, can we get like a subscription where it could be sent to you every month? At this point, I don't know, just because we're not up to that point of distributing the comics, because we still have to do the Kickstarter. Again, it will be sent to you, that first issue, though, with the Kickstarter, so you don't have to worry about the first issue. And it depends if we're going to be in previews. We have to decide if we could do that. It all depends on Diamond, so we still have to discuss that stuff, because while we have the Kickstarter, we're going to discuss that stuff because we got to see how much funding we have. So you have to wait to see how much money you get to do all that stuff. But definitely, it's something we have to think about. Definitely. A little too early in the game to say, though. All right, Jay. Again, keep going with the questions. Definitely, I could go for a little bit longer, so keep going with those questions. Okay. Jay, if you don't back the Kickstarter, an angel will cry. Yes, Jay. That is. I will have to have that as a quote on the Kickstarter. But yeah, definitely try to back it up. Be really nice, especially if you're interested in the comic. Also in the comments below, if you want to answer this, like what interests you in the comic, if anything. I mean, if nothing interests you, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not pitching it right, but yeah, tell me what interests you, and maybe I could even, like, as I write the series more, like, I know what my readers want more, because again, like, I know what I want, but I don't know what you guys want, because I haven't obviously seen your opinions until the one-shots come out, and which will be Monday, guys, so be sure to check out that webcomic, and also once the issue comes out, so it'll be fun. Okay. Next question is from Jay. If you could have it made into another medium, would you prefer an anime series, an anime movie, a live-action TV show, a live-action movie? Which would you most want to see it? So I did make it into a movie script. I had a TV writing for television class, and I was thinking, oh, should I make this for my writing for television class, which I didn't end up doing, because I don't think it translates very well into television. As much as I love the medium, it's not really a television thing. It definitely has a serial because it could make it into a comic book, but I don't think it would work very well on television. Live action or anime movie. Honestly, a lot of people in my class, which I had a great workshop class, a lot of people in my class said they thought it was going to be an anime movie. But honestly, there's honestly too many politics in it to make it an anime movie. And when I pictured it, it was definitely live action. Kind of like in the same vein as Sky High, but obviously not kitty like that. Kind of the same vein as that as original live-action superhero movie, which you don't see very often, so that was definitely a point for that. And yes, I have a cast in my mind, we all know it. And some of the characters look a lot, some of the actors that I wanted for my movie look a lot like the characters in the comic, because that's the inspiration for artists. You have to have, I have a lot of hybrid stuff, so you gotta figure it out that way. Alright, let's see the next question. So yeah, keep coming with the questions. Yes, here we go. We got some good ones here. I do see an X-Men question, only like father like daughter questions. So there, I probably will have, you know, another Q&A whenever, not now, because I'm going to be very swamped very soon. So I'm not going to have another Q&A like that unless I hit a milestone like 6,000 subscribers. I will fit in a Q&A. But as of right now, it's just like father like daughter questions or writing questions. All right. Tevia, question. If your Kickstarter does succeed, will you keep writing the story, or the story does have ending unlike Marvel and DC? You know, my story obviously does have an ending for the origin story, but I will continue writing it after the origin story because I have a lot of ideas after it, so it will be ongoing. I don't have a definite how the story is going to end just yet. Again, I know how the origin story is going to end and how the series is going to go from there, and I have ideas for the series, but I don't think it's gonna be like Marvel DC where it goes for like hundreds of issues, but who knows? You know why I came up with my mind. I said if I feel like I have no more stories to tell, that's when I'm gonna stop. But if I still feel like I have more stories with Casey and the crew, then I'm gonna keep going. And after the origin story, there's a lot more story to tell. So it will be an ongoing series after the origin story. But the origin story is kind of long, so because it was a movie. All right, next question. Can we get like a taste of the art or the character design? And that's from Cartoon Fanatic. Yes, there's actually concept images on the website. I'm going to try copying and pasting it in the comments again. I'm going to probably comment to you. Yeah, it's still not copying. I don't know what's wrong with that, so I can't copy it here. But after the show is done, I'm going to add in the description the link to the website, and there's 4 concept images. I have the sketch for Vulnerable, and the sketch for Casey and her friends, and all of those sketches colored. So those are the 4 concept images, and starting Monday will be the first one-shot. So my writing will premiere on Monday with Casey's first one-shot. And again, these are like kind of promotional things to lead into the Kickstarter. So there's going to be 3 of those: Jessica, Invulnerable, and Casey. Casey's first, then Invulnerable, then Jessica. So look forward to that. Again, I'll have the website. If you want to look at the website now, though, I will go to one of my videos. It's in the description. Look at the most recent video. It's in the description, and it'll be like follow my door website, and you'll see it. So just put another tab and check that. All right. I wish I could put it in the comments, but for some reason it's not working. All right. Cartoon Fanatic, and I came late, so can you explain the comic? Again, for the people that have been watching already, but I'll explain a little bit more about the comic. Small synopsis, not as much as I did in the beginning. The comic is about this superhero Invulnerable. He's the only superhero in the world who left his family to be a full-time superhero. So we see the point of view of Casey and how she deals with her father being a full-time superhero and leaving them, and seeing that, you know, most of the time when your father leaves, they leave, and obviously you feel upset about this, and you go through a lot of emotions because of it. But everyone loves Invulnerable, and she's dealing with these emotions and has to keep it inside. So how does that feel? You know, and it's a lot of celebrity stuff because a lot of people like him. Is he a good person though? So it's a lot of that commentary. So that's a short synopsis on it. All right, let's move on to the next question. Franco Sylvia, how do I participate in the Kickstarter? I'm not familiar with what that is. Well, once the Kickstarter airs, I'll promote it everywhere on this YouTube channel, on Twitter, Facebook, the Like Father Like Daughter webpage, promoting all the links everywhere. You know, I said Facebook, right? Yeah, so I'll have it there too. Kickstarter is, you fund projects that you like. So you might really like my project, you'll fund it, but you get prizes out of the deal. So you're not just giving money and that's it. It's not one of those things. So for $5, you get the comic book signed, and you get a printed version, and you get a newsletter every week. That's something like one of the prizes. Or you get a t-shirt of Comic Uno. So, and as more money you get, the more prizes you get, and the bigger prizes are. So that's Kickstarter. So you can get some of that out of the deal for funding the project. So if you really dedicated to the project, which I hope you guys are liking it, again, in the comments you can describe what you like about the series so far, of what I'm talking about. That'd be great. Again, just give me a general idea what you guys like. So yeah, that's pretty much what Kickstarter is. All right, next question is from Tevia. I am interested in the concept of the story because, unfortunately, Marvel and DC hate having their heroes have families. It just pisses me off about both companies, in my opinion. Me too. You know, I love DC and Marvel, but I wish there was more family dynamics there. I think family dynamics are very interesting. It's always something I've always been interested in media. So, and this is definitely not a nuclear family in any means because the father did leave. So it's interesting. I like it. So yeah, that's why I did family dynamics, because you don't see enough in comic books these days. All right, next question from Jay. Going from a reviewer to a writer, are you nervous or excited about having the script flipped on you by being reviewed? I am nervous, honestly. Now I'll know how it feels. But I'm also excited because, like, as a writer, that's why I did this. I don't want to just sit on my story and be like, yeah, that was a good story. No one's reading it, but that was a good story. I want to share my thoughts, and that's what stories are all about. And I really want to share this with you guys. I think, people will enjoy it, so that's why I'm doing it. But I'm kind of nervous about the reviewing thing. But honestly, when I am going to send it out to a couple of people that I know personally in the YouTube community as reviewers, and give reviewer copies out. But I'm going to tell them as a disclaimer, tell me the truth. If you hate it, tell me why. Give me good reasons why you hate it. And I'm not going to hate you for it, If you don't like it, okay, that's fine, But tell me good reasons why you don't like it and, stuff you think I should improve on in the book. So, yeah, but if you love it, tell me the reasons why you love it. So, I hope I get reviews like that, because sometimes reviews, you're going to get some of the haters and just be like, I hate this book. Why do you hate this book? I don't know why I hate it. I just hate it. Or, I love this book. Why do you love this book? I like it. So I definitely want people to give me feedback on it, which is something I'm looking forward to. And it was really funny because I was talking to Dan Slott at the signing. I was talking about my books, like, oh, I have a comic book coming out. And he's like, I could do a review for you. It's switch places. You know how it feels then to get your comic book reviewed. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a new feeling. Maybe I'll I don't want to say I want to be softer as a reviewer then because I want to tell my total opinions. So honestly, as a reviewer, I want other reviewers to tell their total opinion. I don't want them to be like, I give this a 3 because, you know, I like cat comic. No, I want you guys to be totally truthful about the book. So that's what I want. But again, give criticism, constructive criticism. You like the book, why do you really like it? You like these family dynamics, you like this character, tell me. You know, tell me what you like and dislike about the book. That's something I'm looking forward to and nervous about. Jeremy, if you can make an anime series, who would you get to voice the characters? Same thing for the whole live action thing. I don't know if I could reveal it, I guess, but I would probably get the voices of the live action people I wanted. So one day I'll tell you guys. I don't know when I do another Q&A. Here, I'm gonna load the questions again. Yeah, so keep going with the questions. I can still keep going. Alright. Just reloading again. So yeah, keep going with those questions about like father like daughter. Next question is from Scotty Showman. I'm interested because I know you have a wealth of comic and TV knowledge. You're seeing so many characters, and this is like, here's your chance. This is your baby, so I want to see what you come up with, and I want to know if the father is a good guy or bad guy. Yeah, you know, that's something I'm really trying to promote here. That's the mystery. Is he a good guy or a bad guy? And I'm going to say, as the story started, it was the question of who's the villain, who's the hero. The real question, what makes a villain and a hero? So, yeah, that's definitely a question with Invulnerable. Is he a villain? What makes a villain? What makes a hero? Casey's point of view, is he a villain? So, yeah, those are some really interesting aspects. Next is sometimes when a comedian thinks of a joke, he laughs to himself, and everyone thinks he's crazy until they hear the joke and everyone laughs. Has there ever been a moment where you thought of something really awesome during the creative process where you can't wait to see that come to fruition, possibly a twist or turn? Hell yeah. I'm telling you, this book, I'm going to say, as issues go on, it turns into another series. And I'm really excited about that. And I remember in my screenplay writing class when it happened, when I revealed the twist, people were shocked. So I'm hoping I get the same reaction. People were like, what? What just happened? So I'm going to say, like, the last couple issues, like, there's crazy shit that happens. I'm so excited to show you guys that issue because there's, like, not just one twist. There's another twist and another twist. So, yeah, there's a lot of twists and turns. I'm really excited to show you guys. But even, like, the first issue, there's, like, this one scene that I really want to show you guys because as comic book fans, as people that like my channel, I think you're going to like that scene. So, yeah, I think you're going to like it. So that's another one I'm looking forward to. And again, I just want to see what people are thinking all together about the book. I'm really excited. All right, next question is Cartoon Fanatic. Well, Luke Cage has a family with Jessica Jones. That's off topic. For now, Cartoon Fanatic, he has one. But yeah, I agree. There's some families out there, but there's a lot that used to be families that aren't anymore. Spider-Man and Mary Jane's a big one. Lois and Clark, so yeah. And even though that was just more of a marriage, but still, it's a little upsetting. May not existing because of the whole One More Day, and also because she died anyways, but still, May not even have a comic anymore. Yeah, so, it's sad, but what can you do? Alright, next question. Question, if you could make a story about time travel with these characters you made, how would you make the time travel with your characters? It wouldn't happen. Time travel is a no-no. Again, series is grounded. I will say there's flashbacks, so it's not like we're only in present time. We will see things in the past, so there's actually a lot of things we'll see in the past, but no time travel. Definitely not. Not at this point, at least. Maybe a long time from now, but I just think time travel is way too complicated. I'm not a big fan of it unless it's really needed. Like, all new X-Men, I think they did it well with the whole First Class X-Men, and I like when it has something to do with the character, where a character sees their past selves and see how much they grew. I think that's really cool time travel, but honestly, they don't use time travel in that way anymore. That just makes things confusing. So yeah, I'm going to try to avoid time travel again, because it is a grounded book. Alright, next question. I guess artists make things because they see a lack of something they want to put out into the universe or in the market. What aspects of the comic that are lacking that you feel that, like Father Like Daughter, will hopefully fulfill? Honestly, uh, girl readers could look up to Casey. I think that's the best way to put it. I don't think there's people could look up. Seeing this tag, this weight on teen girl characters in media. People hate them, especially in action type things. I mean, Paige from The Americans, Dana from Homeland. They all have rightful reasons why they're hated, but yeah, these teen girls just always have this annoying aspect, which is not their fault, and sometimes they don't have an annoying aspect. Let's look at Thea. People just hate on her just to hate on her, where I think she's a great character. So again, I feel like that these teen girl heroes have, or just teen girl characters in general in action type movies or TV shows, have a bad rep. And honestly, in my book, I want to show that teen girl heroes could be cool, you know? People could look up to them, and like kind of like Miss Marvel in a way, or even Spider-Girl, where those people are like, hey, that book is awesome. And not just because it's teen girl hero, they don't look down at the teen girl hero, and they have their own quirks, you know? They're not perfect characters, like I was going back to. They're not perfect characters. Miss Marvel's not perfect. And Spider-Girl's far from perfect also. So that's something that draws me to the Spider-Girl's character. So that's something I'm looking into, you know, giving a different name to girl heroes, girl teen heroes in particular. And I mean hero as in just main character too. Okay. Jay, how many artists are you working on with this, or is it just one art team? I am working on with a couple artists, but I don't talk directly to the artists. I talk to the main person at Short Fuse Media, which is Rashawn, who sends me the art stuff, and I tell him what I want from the artist. But the webcomic is different art style from the actual comic books, so those are two different art styles. The concept art's different from the webcomic and the actual comic also. So there's a couple of different artists, but the comic book is just going to be one artist. Yeah, let's move on. Now let's see if we got more questions. I'm having a lot of fun answering these, so definitely keep going with them. All right, hold on. I'm looking for. All right. Next is Jeremy. How have any writers' writing styles influenced how you write? Like Gail Simone's female strength and witty humor, Bendis' dialogue, Dan Slott's quirky humor. Yeah, honestly, yeah. I won't say their writing has, but their thoughts on writing have. Again, I'm a big Twitter person, and I love looking at writers talk about their characters, and honestly looking at interviews and seeing why they did this stuff with their characters, and really look in depth to how they made these characters and into their writing. But yeah, like there's a lot of emotional impact, like Brian Michael Bendis. He has a lot of great, heavy dialogue, and that's something I have a lot in my book. Gail Simone has very strong female characters, something I have in my book. So I think it's unconsciousness of influence. Again, just reading so many comics, you get influence. I read so many comics a week, so I definitely get to see the different spectrums of comics and automatically get inspired by it. And honestly, I think I became a better writer because I watch TV and watch movies, and I mean intellectually watch TV and movies and read comic books. So, and being a reviewer just helped a lot as being a writer. Helped me find writing, I think. Hey, through your collaboration with Short Fuse and the artist, was there anything that they said, I don't think this would work? Yeah, actually, the last name. I had to change the last name. I was going to name the last name Jones, but it didn't work because too many people with the first name of my characters had Jones. I didn't know that Casey Jones was from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so I had to scrap the whole last name. And the reason I picked Jones was actually, a reference to Mother Verses because the family is Jones. That's the reason I picked it. I was talking to my friend, Luke, and I was talking to Alex. Like, I gotta change the last name, but I don't know what I want to change it to. So I ended up picking Ryder just because Luke's like, how about Ryder? I'm like, you know what? That actually sounds really cool. So yeah, that's actually something I had to change just because editorial-wise, you had to change it. People would get confused. You can't really have like the same name and last name. So that was a big thing that I had to change was the name. Okay, next question. How did you get the artist to work on your comic? Just wondering because I need some help with setting up a Kickstarter someday. If possible, please, I need your help. Like I said, I made a video about the artist, and then Short Fuse Media came to me, so that's how I got the artist. Alright, Jed. If this makes it to an ongoing, would you see it more as a standalone and shorter arcs, or would you do it more writing for trades with 6-issue arcs? Writing for trade, honestly. I think that's really what I've been doing with this book in particular. Because I'm not really a big fan of small story arcs. I guess maybe it could be a mix also, because maybe after a big origin story, you want to kind of go to a smaller arc. But yeah, definitely in the long game. I'm thinking more of the trades. I think very into the future. I already have ideas for characters that have been introduced and how to make them a little bit changed as the ongoing series goes on. So I say I'm writing for trade at this moment, at least. All right. Yeah, keep going with the question, guys. Keep going, keep going, keep going. All right, Tevye. Speaking of writers and creators in general like you, did you get your inspiration from Your Story by Tom DeFalco? Yeah, I mentioned this. Again, it's unconscious inspiration. And then there's other, like, I said this previously about, like, other medias that brought me inspiration. There's another one that I can't talk about right now, but once that time comes in the comic, I will talk about. Again, I think I will do these Q&As, like, after every issue comes out or whatever, so we'll see. All right, let's keep going with those questions. I think I'll keep going for like 15 minutes, so definitely keep axing away. Let's see. All right, Tevye. Who is Short Fuse? Are they ones who help to get your comic off the ground? Just wondering. Yeah, let me give you some background, a little bit more on Short Fuse Media. I made a video trying to look for an artist because I need an artist. I'm not an artist, far from it. So I needed an artist for the book. So I actually got a lot of responses, and one of the first responses was from Short Fuse Media on Twitter saying, "Hey, check out our company. We will do not just the art, we'll do the publishing. We can do everything." So I looked into their company, and they do a lot of stuff. They do action figures. They make different comic books. So yeah, I recommended the company to a few people also, and they're just very professional people. So yeah, they came up to me about it, and they're helping me with publishing, of course. It's definitely been a tag team trying to get this Kickstarter off the ground. Tag team, they made that whole website. I'm not, I know website design, but not to that extent. So they made that beautiful website for like Father Like Daughter. They've done a lot. So yeah, they were not even just very behind the scenes because they have their artists also. So they've been a humongous help. All right, let's see if we got any more questions. All right, so I'm going to wait for more questions. Let's start those trickling in. I guess I'm going to get towards the end, so get some of those questions in. Yeah, so let's round stuff up as, again, these last couple of questions come in. I want, and also I want to ask your guys' opinions on what should I do with Like Father Like Daughter for my channel. This is just one thing I wanted to do to promote the book a little bit more for you guys to check it out. Again, right after this video is uploaded, I'll have the links for the actual website. That way you guys could check it out. And yeah, I just wanted to put the book a little bit more out there. And I'm definitely planning on more videos like this in the future. As a Kickstarter comes, I'll probably do something for it. I'm planning on having a fundraiser in some way. So in the next couple of weeks, I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But and not just for the Kickstarter. It's another fundraiser I'll be having. So definitely look into that as time goes on. But yeah, give me some ideas of what you guys want to see with Like Father, Like Daughter on the YouTube channel, or again, what just interests you in the book. If this is not live, you can still say what interests you in the book, or what you want to see with the book. So yeah. But yeah, most importantly, just tell me what you would like to see on how I could cross-promote this book and also use the YouTube channel. So I want to do both. Obviously, as a YouTuber, as a reviewer, I want to do both. So this was one of the ideas I had to a Q&A. It was a lot of fun just talking about the book and talk about writing. I don't get to do it that often. So it's really, really fun that I was able to do this. And obviously it went over the time I said I was going to do, but I had a lot of fun doing it. So yeah, definitely. And then next Q&A might be, after when the first issue comes out, I'll have a Q&A. Maybe during the Kickstarter I'll have something. But definitely more ideas. And also, when I hit 6,000 subscribers, of course, I'll have a regular Q&A. Because it seems like you guys really like this. I really enjoy doing it, too. It's just time-wise, I don't really have a lot right now at all. So this was already squeezing time. This is like the only time I had. So to do this. So Q&As at this point, other Q&As, I don't have as much free time as I did during the summer, and it's going to be even worse in the next couple of weeks, my schedule, so trying to squeeze everything in. But yeah, if I do get to hit those 6,000 subscribers earlier than I expect, then I'll have a Q&A for that. That'll definitely happen. But yeah, more ideas for Like Father, Like Daughter in the comments. But let's see what's going on with these questions. Okay, we only have one so far, so. Alright, again, oh no, we don't. I have more than that. Alright, so again, keep trickling them in. These are the last couple of questions, so keep going. I'm going to babble a little bit more as I wait for these questions. So yeah, again, just talk about what you want to see, and I guess I'll talk about what's coming up for my channel for the future. I had a really long discussion with my family, just talking about schedule-wise, so shows I'm definitely going to have reviews for is Flash and Arrow. Those are two shows I'm definitely going to have reviews for. Others are kind of up in the air right now, just because time-wise. I'm going to try reviewing Wolfblood this year. That's going to start in like 7 days, so I'm going to try reviewing that. It's a UK show. Really excited to review that. Obviously, it's going to be a little late because I don't live in the UK, but I'm really excited to review that because I really do enjoy the show. And that's actually my most viewed video is the pilot episode for that. I think it's just a brilliant show. So if you like that genre, that's something I will definitely, the genre of werewolves and stuff, I definitely recommend it. So those are going to be probably 3 shows I review. The other shows are kind of up in the air, just depending on schedule-wise. It's really tough this semester for me, just with the comic book going on, comic book reviews. Of course, comic book reviews will all be the same. Live shows, Medium Madness, Comic Frontline will be the same. TV shows, again, it definitely will be Flash and Arrow. Others, Power Rangers and Ultimate Spider-Man, I'll have on Frontline. I'm trying to think if there's others. Constantine probably will fit on my list. I just gotta see if I like the show, so I don't want to promise anything about that. I might like Gotham a lot more, so I gotta see what shows I like a lot. But I know Flash and Arrow, they're shows I know I'm gonna like. So obviously Arrow will be on time and everything. So Flash will be a little later. But yeah, those are 2 shows I'm definitely reviewing. Also this Saturday, Paley Center, keep reminding you guys, I'm going to be seeing Gotham advancedly, so you're going to have an advanced review for that, and Flash advanced review. They had Constantine on Sunday, but again, schedule-wise, just didn't work out for me to go see that. I'll see Constantine when it airs. But really excited for that. New York Comic Cons are right around the corner. Excited for that. Really, really excited for New York Comic Con. Just a lot of things around the corner. So it's going to be a busy couple of months here. But yeah, just bear with me on that. Guys, I'm always on top of things, so I'm trying my hardest to balance the schedule and get stuff for you guys too. So comic book reviews are going to be the same though. So, and this comic book, I'm already up to issue 3, so you don't have to worry about delays or anything at all. So, yeah, let's see what's going on with these comments. Alright. Tavia, question, can you send me a link to, alright, I'm going to have to send you that later, Tavia. Or even check out, like, Father, Like Daughter, the webpage, and you can find out more information about Short Fuse Media. Sky Showman, I remember when the people from Zenoscope came, they were even talking about writer's block and feeling pride. How did you deal with writer's block and balancing out work and play and refining inspiration. I think as I wrote the screenplay, I had some writer's block. Honestly, not even writer's block. I knew what I wanted, I just didn't know how to get there. I don't want to spoil anything, but the twist is kind of hard to set, so I'm going to say that. So that was a little hard. Also, just kind of the mythology of the whole entire book. You got to really figure out this world. I think that's a little difficult. Like, what does invulnerable powers do? That was a little difficult. But writing the comic book, I don't have as much writer's block. Again, it's just more difficult to find out what I want to put in each issue from the movie pilot. I mean, the movie screenplay. So at this moment, I don't have writer's block, but I'm sure after the origin story I will, because I've already had writer's block. I wrote the whole thing, but it was a year ago. So but yeah, there's always writer's block. Really, Superman, Jay, in your reviews, you always talk about the covers and if they work with the actual story as a writer. Now, did you make sure that the covers do that? Yeah, definitely. We talk about the covers a lot. The first cover looks really cool. It has a lot to do with the story. So I haven't seen the other covers just because we're still working on issue 1, but I definitely make sure they run across me about the covers. So I definitely make sure that the covers do the story justice, because I agree, Jay. I think covers are so important. I dedicate a whole entire section of my review for it. So they're important to sell the book. They shouldn't be misleading. If Wes is not in the comic, he shouldn't be on the cover. That's definitely a big point. All right, next question. Can you get your comic like Father Like Daughter like a motion comic someday? Just wondering. I'm not thinking about that right now. I know it'll be in a digital format, hopefully. Yeah, it'll definitely be in a digital format, but not motion comic. I'm not thinking about right now. If the comic does really well, definitely something I'll think about, but as of right now, not thinking about it. All right, Jeremy, have you considered doing a contest on your channel, giving a few issues away for free? Oh, for like Father Like Daughter? Again, I think that'll have to come to the time when the Kickstarter starts, and once the actual issues come out, I'll definitely like have a contest for like, hey, first issue of Father Like Daughter printed, signed by Comic Uno. I'll definitely have stuff like that. But again, that's just a little bit more of the long run. Definitely, we're focusing on the Kickstarter a little bit more now, and then once the actual first issue comes out, yeah, that's actually a really good idea. I'll probably do some sort of contest in some way. All right, next question. Sky Showman, I think you should keep having this back and forth with your reading audience. I think it could be a great tool, a possibility, the ways of the future, the ways of the future. Yeah, I definitely want to do that. That's why I want to really cross-promote my YouTube channel with my comic. And as a YouTuber, I don't want to just be like, here's my comic, I'm not going to do anything with my YouTube channel and talk about my book. I want to talk about my book. I love talking about it. It's a story I love because I wrote it, and I love the story. And I love talking to you guys, and obviously I love this medium. So I think it's a great tool, Google Plus, to do this Q&A type stuff. So I'm thinking right from this Q&A with every first issue, maybe like the weekend of, because I'm not going to do it like Wednesday because people wouldn't read it by Wednesday. But like weekend, I'll have like a Q&A talking about the book, what's to come, like questions about the book. So that's what I'm really looking forward to when the book comes out. So I'm excited about that. But I definitely want to do more of it. Jeremy, good luck, Kat. Looking forward to supporting the Kickstarter and reviewing it. Yes, Jeremy, I'll definitely will be sending you a copy. So looking forward to your thoughts. Jay said I posted a link to your comic site twice in the comments. Thank you, Jay. I don't know what's going on with Firefox, because I'm on Comic Frontline right now. I don't know why it's not posting. But thank you very much. So Jay did post a link, so if you want to check out the Life of Like Daughter website, be sure to look at Jay's stuff. All right. Next, Sky Showman. When artists share things and close to them, it can be tricky bringing others on board. Even through bouncing ideas off someone else can be very helpful. Would you ever work on a creative team for your story? Or do you want to work solo for the near future? Yeah, for my story, I don't really want to work with a creative team. I know the vision I want, but I want editorial suggestions. So if Rashawn has something to say about my book that will help it, which he has before, and I love doing that, just that's the collaborative experience I really do enjoy. So editorial, yes. The creative process, other mediums, yes, not the comic. Like if I was writing a television show, yeah, hell yeah, I would like to sit in a writer's room, but not for this. Definitely not for this. And even for my movie, I've already gotten ideas because I've done a workshop for the story, so I've already gotten people's opinions on it, which is really cool, so that really helps with the workshop. Alright, let's see. Next is from Tevia. Question, is your comic going to only be digital or will it also have physical copies someday? Just wondering. It's going to be both. It will. We'll have digital copies and physical copies. Again, we have to go through Diamond and, you know, get that all set up. But we will have physical, we will have digital, and both will be in the Kickstarter. So if you want just digital, you can get just digital. If you want printed, signed, you'll get it printed and signed. So once the Kickstarter comes out, you'll find out that information. Mr. J Comics, will reviewer copies be physical or PDFs? I don't know at this moment. It depends how many copies we have. It depends what Short Fuse Media would like me to do. I don't know, but I'm definitely going to give reviewers copies. But it depends if it'll be PDF or not. Let's see if we have any more. All right, it looks like that's it for now. Thank you guys again for joining me for this Q&A. I had a lot of fun. Again, you guys can comment even if it's not live. You know, talk about what you're expecting with the comic, what you're excited about. Yeah, so talk about all those things. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And the next 3 weeks are gonna be pretty cool. So be sure to check Monday. Again, Monday is gonna be the first one shot. So if you want to see like the first story, go check that out. I'll have more information on the Kickstarter hopefully very soon. I'll be talking about that soon and setting it up. So really excited about it, and I'm excited for this first issue to come out. Hopefully sooner than later. Depends how the Kickstarter does. So really either promote this video, you could share the video with your friends or on Twitter, social networks. That would help a lot. Share the website. If you really like this idea, just try to share it. That way the word could spread. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, this comic, I had a lot of fun doing this and just, talking about writing, talking about the book. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, if you have any other ideas about how to cross-promote YouTube and the Like Father, Like Daughter comic, please tell me in the comments below. So I will see you guys later. It's Comic Bye, guys.